What's up, y'all? As you can see by the title of the video, going to be starting a national Pokédex. I'm so excited for this. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I see a lot of people do this, and it's really made me want to do it. So I'm just going to break down how this is going to go. Well, first off, I need to get a binder, so let's get that sorted out. So I actually on Amazon found this one that's going to hold every single card. There's 1,025 and this holds 1,200 plus 1216, so that would fit even like Gen 10 when that comes out into this. So, and I wanted to do red. I thought that would be cool because, you know, like Pokeball colored. I just like red in general. I also like my binders to be different colors, and my set binders are purple and black, and my personal collection binder is white, so wanted to do a different color. But yeah, this is going to hold every single item. That is a perfect start. So let's get that ordered. Okay, now that I have that ordered, let's go over how this is gonna go. So once that binder gets here, I'll fully do this video. So I'm going to do a gen per video. I just went through for like the last week and a half and organized, like, I would say about like 40% of my bulk all into gen orders. So now I have them all separated into like ETBs and stuff in gen order. And when I get the binder, we'll just start with one gen each episode. So this one obviously will be Gen 1. I'm like pretty confident I have every single card from this, and that's the thing, is it's just going to start with seeing how many I can fill up just from the cards I have. But once I fully complete it, then we're just going to start upgrading it down the line and stuff. So I'll pick this back up when I've got the binder and we're going to start filling out Gen 1. I'm so excited to do this. Okay, I just got done sorting through all of it. It took forever. There's some other rules that I didn't mention that are a part of it. So rule number 1, the Pokemon card that I put in for their Pokédex number, it has to have their name in the title of the card. They can't be like a cameo on the card. It has to be their card. And then another rule is no like Galarian or Hisuian versions of them, and it has to be their real versions from that generation of Pokédex. If they have a new form in a later gen and it's an actual new Pokédex number, then that obviously will be included, but none of the like random Hisuian or Galarian versions will be added if it's the same Pokédex number. But yeah, that's really all the rules. So let's go ahead and flip over to hand cam and go over the cards that are going into the binder and start filling this out. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I'm a very impatient person and I don't want to wait for the binder to get here to start. So I went ahead and prepped a binder. It just has exactly enough for Gen 1, and then I'll just switch them over to the big Pokédex binder once it actually gets here. So with that being said, I have this entire chest full of Gen 1 cards. So as you guys know, I am collecting 151, so I do in fact have every single card from this gen, but the question is, do I have every single card in my bulk? We're about to find out. Let's organize it all. This is gonna take a while. Alright, y'all. We have all 151 cards for Gen 1 here now, so let's start the entries. I'll show you guys what kind of cool cards I got for this Pokédex. So starting it off, we of course first have Bulbasaur. Had this really cool older one in my PC from 2004. Already a 21-year-old card. And that starts the National Pokédex. Next we got Ivysaur, very simple one from Scarlet and Violet. Next, I know I mentioned that the cards had to have the name of the Pokemon in it, so I am going to count this because I in fact don't have any extra Venusaurs, but did happen to have this from X and Y Evolutions, so counting that for Venusaur. We then have a very basic Charmander from Obsidian Flames. We next have Charmeleon from a mid-era set, really cool artwork on this one. We then have the Charizard from the McDonald's collection. which was actually the only Charizard I had. We then next, of course, have Squirtle, using the one from 151. We then have Wartortle, using this Dark Wartortle. This is my favorite artwork of Wartortle, so I made sure to pick this up for this binder specifically. We then have the same situation as Venusaur. We've got the Blastoise Spirit Link. Somehow didn't have a Blastoise to use for this, but that caps out page 1, so let's move on to the next. To start off this page, we have a reverse holo Caterpie from the Sword and Shield era. We then, of course, have Metapod, also reverse holo, and from the exact same set as Caterpie. We then have Butterfree using a cool V card, which is also from the Sword and Shield era, of course. We then move into Weedle, which I have this really cool Delta Species reverse holo stamp for this one. We then next have Kakuna. Really liked the artwork on this one, so wanted to at least start with this one for my binder. We then next have Beedrill, very basic one from the Sun and Moon era. Next up we've got Pidgey using his reverse holo from Obsidian Flames. Next up we've got Pidgeotto, also from Obsidian Flames. And then to cap out the page, we got Pidgeot from the 151. Let's move on to page 3. Starting off this page, we've got Rattata from XY Evolutions. We then move into Raticate, which is also from XY Evolutions. We then move into Spearow, which is just a really simple one from the 151, and then of course we have Pharaoh from the 151 set as well. Up next we've got a First Ed Ekans from Team Rocket, really cool older art variant. We then next have an Arbok Unlimited from Fossil. We then next of course have Pikachu, and I had to do a big one for this one. This was actually my brother's card. He actually packed it himself about 15 or so years ago now, and kept it in a top loader ever since, and he's never really been much into Pokemon, so I bought it off him a little while ago and knew I had to include it into this set. We then next of course have Raichu, have this really cool E-Series card art for this one, and then Sandshrew is going to cap off this page. Let's move on to page 4. To start off, we of course have Sandslash, which is also going to be from the 151 set. We then next have a cool old artwork of Nidoran from Jungle, and then Nidorino will follow, which this one is as well from 151. We then have Nidoqueen, and following suit is also from 151. A lot of these I only had one artwork of, and of course 151. Very recent, and I've opened a lot of them, so that's going to be a good majority of them at the start of this Pokédex. We then next have a Nidoran from 151 as well. We then move into Nidorino from 151 as well. And then we have a really cool beat up Nidoking E-Series card. We then have another E-Series card in this Clefairy. Huge fan of Tomokazu. You guys will see a good amount of his artworks throughout all of these Pokédexes. And then to cap out this page, we have the beautiful Clefable from Jungle. Let's move on to page 5. To start off 5th page, we have Blaine's Vulpix. We then move into a reverse holo Ninetales from Surging Sparks. Following that, we have a reverse holo Jigglypuff from Paldean Fates. And then we have another cool reverse holo stamp for the Wigglytuff from Crystal Guardians. We then move into Zubat with a Sword and Shield card. And then we have our first non-English card, a Japanese Golbat from the Team Rocket set. We then have another E-Series card for this Oddish. Really like the artwork on this one. We then move into Gloom, one from Sword and Shield era. Also really think the artwork on this one is funny. We then have a really cool vintage Japanese holo for Vileplume. Found this in my PC, knew I had to include it. Let's move on to page 6. To start off this page, we have Paris from the 151 set. We then move into Parasect, a reverse holo from Journey Together. We then have Venonat from the 151 set as well. We then move into Venomoth from 151 as well. Up next, we've got Diglett with a really cool reverse holo from the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. Shout out to a guy on Reddit. He actually just sent me a couple of these for free, so really cool from him. We then next, of course, have Dugtrio with a card from Sword and Shield era. Thought this card was really funny with the other trio popping out from the back and being surprised. We then have this really cute Meowth card. We then have another really cool holo vintage Japanese card, Giovanni's Persian, going in with that beautiful swirl on it. And then to cap out this page, we've got a Psyduck from 151 as well. Let's move on to page number 7. Starting off page 7, we of course have Golduck, a reverse holo one from Sword and Shield. We then next have Mankey, looking at a beautiful sunset. And then we have a cool mid-era Primeape from my PC. We then have a Growlithe from Scarlet and Violet base. Really like the artwork on this one. We then have Arcanine, which is also from 151. We have a reverse holo Poliwag, looking at his reflection. We then have the Poliwhirl from the same set as the Poliwag. And then to cap it off, we have the Poliwrath. That completes that line from Twilight Masquerade. To round off this page, we have an Abra First Edition from Team Rocket set. Let's move on to the next page. Of course, starting off this page is Kadabra with yet again another card from 151. We then have Alakazam from Twilight Masquerade, and then we move into Machop with his XY Evolutions artwork. We then have this really cool Machoke, Power Keepers, reverse holo stamp, and then for Machamp, this was surprisingly the only artwork I had for him, but did have a cool VMAX Rainbow card, so going in there. We then move into Bellsprout with his card from Jungle, and then into Weeping Bell, which is his card from Jungle as well. And then we have Victory Bell from the 151 set. And then to cap off this page, we've got a Tentacool from Fossil. Let's move on to the next one. Starting off this one, we've got Tentacruel once again from 151. Hopefully that'll change. We then have a cool mid-era Geodude artwork that was in my PC. We then have a Graveler artwork from the Sword and Shield era. And then to wrap off that trio, we've got Golem with a reverse holo from Sword and Shield. We then move into Ponyta with a reverse holo from Temporal Forces. And then on to Rapidash. Really liked this artwork from Stellar Crown. We then have one of my favorite Pokemon of 151, Slowpoke. Used a really cool reverse holo from the mid-era, and then to follow suit, of course, another one of my favorites. We've got Slowbro from Gym Challenge or Gym Heroes, can't remember which one, but it's Sabrina's Slowbro. And then to round out this page, we've got a Magnemite from Obsidian Flames. Let's move on to the next page. We then have Magneton, of course, to start this page. Really like the vibrant artwork on this one. We then move into Farfetch'd, which is once again from 151. Then we move into Doduo from XY Evolutions. And then we have a Dodrio from Jungle. Another really cool artwork. We then move into Seal with an artwork from Sword and Shield. We then follow suit with Dewgong, which is also a artwork from Sword and Shield. We then move into Grimer with a really cool fossil card. And then next up is of course Muck with a card from Sword and Shield. And then to round out this page, we have a first edition Misty Shelter. Let's move on to the next one. We then of course have Cloyster. Next up is Ghastly, really cool artwork from the Sun and Moon era. Had to throw that one in here at least to start. We then move into Haunter, which is the second of those reverse holos from Heart Gold Soul Silver that Reddit user gave to me for free, so once again, shout out to him. And then once again, we see a Tomokazu artwork being used with this Gengar from 151. I love the artwork on this one. We then move into Onyx, with just a random artwork I had from Sword and Shield. We then move into a mid-era reverse holo Drowsy. Look at the reverse holo on that, that's so cool. They should really bring that back. We then go into Hypno with kind of today's version of that reverse holo pattern from Shrouded Fable. Also a huge fan of this reverse holo pattern. We then move into Krabby with a cute artwork from the Sword and Shield era. And then we cap off this page with a reverse holo Kingler from Sword and Shield as well. Let's move on to the next page. We move into Voltorb to start off this page with yet again another Tomokazu artwork. I think you guys are starting to realize how his artwork looks. We then move into Electrode with a reverse holo artwork from Sword and Shield. We then have a Execute artwork from Surging Sparks. We then have this incredibly beat up Executor. Like, look at this. This actually went through the washer, fun fact, and it has survived to tell the story and is now going into a national Pokédex. Really like this artwork though, and it is from Jungle. We then move into a Cubone from Sun and Moon. We then move into a Marowak from 151 set. I actually really like this artwork. Even if it wasn't for everyone being in 151, might have chose that anyway. We then move into Hitmonlee, and of course had to do the continuing artwork with Hitmonchan, sliding these in at the same time. Also perfect that they go next to each other, since their artworks are meant for that. We then, to cap out this page, have a really funny looking Lickitung from the Sword and Shield era. Let's move on to the next page. To start off this one, we've got a Coughing from the Sword and Shield era. We then move into Wheezing, which is once again from 151. We then move into Rhyhorn with a reverse holo from Sword and Shield. We then move into Rhydon with a Sword and Shield art variant as well. Up next is Chansey. I've had this really cool Ruby and Sapphire EX for the longest time, honestly, since I was like 7 or 8. You can see the little swirl right there, but oh, and another one behind it. I've just felt like this had to be the artwork to include in here because it's such a cool one. Don't think this one will ever be seen and upgraded, if we're being honest. We then next move into Tangela with another artwork from the Sword and Shield era. We then next have Kangaskhan, artwork from Sword and Shield era as well. We then move into a really cool artwork in Horsey from Delta Species and is also done by Tomokazu. Tomokazu's been doing artwork for them for over 20 years now. Really cool to see that. We then, to cap out this page, have a Seadra with that really cool reverse holo pattern from Shrouded Fable once again. Let's move on to the next page. We start this one with Goldeen from 151. We then have a Seeking artwork from Sword and Shield. We then have a Staryu artwork from Sword and Shield. And then we have a Starmie artwork from Sword and Shield. We then have a really cool remake of this vintage Mr. Mime that is found in the huge black TCG collector's box. We then move into Scyther, and then we have a Jinx artwork from the Sword and Shield era, and then a Electabuzz from the Sword and Shield era. We then have a cool vintage Magmar from Base 2 to close out this page. Let's move on to the next one. We then start off this page with a reverse holo Pinsir from 151. We then have a really cool holo Tauros that is a Pop Series card, and once again, another swirl on the card. Thought this one would be cool to grab from the PC to throw into here. We then move into the Goat Magikarp from the 151 set, and then we of course have Gyarados using the remake of the Dart Gyarados. This one comes from the 25th Celebration Anniversary collection, as you can see with the stamp right there. We then have Lapras with a really nice artwork from Obsidian Flames. We then have my absolute favorite Gen 1 Pokemon and favorite Pokemon of all time, Ditto, using a Japanese shiny Ditto from Paldean Fates for this one. We then move into Eevee, using a EVEX from Terastal Festival. We then move into Vaporeon, which is also from Terastal Festival. And then to cap out this page, we have another one of those really cool holos from a Pop Series. Let's move on to the next page. We then, of course, to start this page, have Flareon, which, as you can see, is another Pop Series holo. Hopefully I can also get the Vaporeon one to cap out that set. We then move into a really cool Porygon artwork from the mid-era. We then have Ammonite from 151, and then we have Amistar from 151 as well. I think the artwork on this one's actually really cool. I like how the differences from the Ammonite to Amistar. We then move into Kabuto with a vintage card from Fossil, and then we of course have a Kabutops coming from 151 as well. We then move into Aerodactyl with a reverse holo from 151. And then we have a really cute Snorlax from the Sword and Shield era. And then to cap out this page, we got the first of the 3 birds with Articuno. Let's move on to the last and final page. To start off this one, we of course have Zapdos with a really cool Watsy promo. We then have the Watsy promo for the Moltres as well, following suit as with the Eevee evolutions. I don't know what's with me not having water variants for these kinds of cards, but Seems to be a pattern. We then move into a really cool Delta species Dratini. We then move into Dragonair from 151, and then we move into this beautiful artwork of Dragonite from Fossil. We then have this reverse holo Mewtwo from Sword and Shield era. And then, of course, to cap it out, we have the 151th Pokemon, Mew, with once again another really cool reverse holo Pop Series card, and once again another swirl, as you can see there. Gen 1 now complete. Just to put in a little note, I will be upgrading these binders and all of these gens over time, but obviously after this you're not really going to see any of Gen 1 anymore. Like, I'll be moving on to the next gens for these episodes, so I'm just going to put in a rule that as I'm upgrading throughout time, this will be the same for all of the gens. I need at least 10 cards minimum that are upgrades to make an actual entry and like show you guys for a video. So if I start to get upgrades, I'll just put them into a pile off to the side and just wait till I have at least 10 to add them as an entry to these videos. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that. Alright y'all, that is going to end episode 1 of this National Pokédex series. Let me know if you guys like this style of video, a lot more just like displaying cards and just like looking through them. I thought it was a pretty cool idea, so let me know if you guys enjoy it. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the future episodes. And yeah, that's all for this episode. Appreciate y'all for watching. See you for the next one.